Hello everybody, welcome back again to Ask Tetsu. 皆さん、Ask Tetsu へまだようこそ。このビデオの日本語バージョンはまだこちらをクリックしてください。So today, we will be talking about my other two kids. As you know, last time we talked about Rani, but this time we'll be talking about Nika and Akila. So first of all, Nika, just as Rani, she was also born in Japan, whereas Akila was born in Canada. So Nika was born in Nagasaki, where my wife comes from, and she was born in 2013, and she was mainly raised in Japanese until she was about 19 months old. And as I discussed last time with Rani, when Nika was born, we actually brought Rani to Taiwan. Well, we, as in I brought Rani to Taiwan. And so Nika was still too young, so she stayed back in Nagasaki with Yuko, my wife, where she was continuing to study. So Nika was only exposed mainly to Japanese until she was about 19 months old, which is a big difference compared to Rani, who was actually exposed to Japanese and Mandarin from birth, and also additionally he was exposed to English when I took him to Taiwan until he was about 3. So Nika was mainly raised in Japanese monolingually and a little bit of Mandarin when she came to visit in Taiwan. And then at 19 months old, when Nika was almost 2 and Rani just turned 3, we all went back to Canada, which is where we are right now. And that's when she got an additional exposure to Mandarin through me and also my father. And additionally, she started to have tremendous exposure to French, which is the community language here in Quebec, and also to English, where quite a lot of people here speak English also. And just like Rani, when we brought in an au pair, which was discussed at the last episode, we brought in an au pair from Mexico, and Nika and Rani started to get exposed to Spanish. So that's so different from Rani, who was exposed to 2 languages first, and then additionally Mandarin for another 1.5 years, and then added French and Spanish. Nika was mainly exposed to Japanese until she was about 19 months old, and then added 4 more languages when she was almost 2 when we came back to Canada. So another distinguishing feature between the language development of Nika and that of Rani is that Nika actually started speaking slower at a later age than Rani. I would say around 6 to 8 months later, which is actually, I guess, the opposite of what most people would say, since people mostly say that girls develop their language abilities faster than boys. But in our situation, it was actually the opposite. But she's now 5, going on 6, and she has no problems academically, and it's turned out that she's caught up, and there's really not been any issues from a linguistic perspective. So we're quite happy about how she has developed as time went on. Okay, so other than languages, just as we've discussed for Rani, we try to encourage our kids to try many things, to learn many different skills and talents, and Nika is not an exception. So although what she likes, what she enjoys seems to be different mostly from that of Rani, but we try to support what she wants to do, and as much as possible, within what we have here in the area where we live. I think her biggest sports passion would be horseback riding. Rani also did some horseback riding, but he didn't seem to be very interested in that. But Nika really loves horses. So every week She goes to take her lessons, and it's been about 2 years, 3 going on 3. So she started when she was 3. So this is her third year doing horseback riding. And in terms of other sports, I think she also likes skating, just like Ronnie, and she also enjoys skiing. I mean, we're really close to a ski hill here. We go out and ski a lot. Although Ronnie likes snowboarding more than skiing, and Nika insists on skiing. And in terms of arts, more self-expression, Nika is our little artist in the house. She really likes dancing and singing and drawing. I mean, definitely all forms of art expression she really loves. But drawing, she could spend days just coloring and drawing and folding origamis and all that. So that's where she spends a lot more time, I guess, than Ronnie. So I don't know. Let's see how that develops. We support her as much as we can, provide her the infrastructure and the materials and whatever we can to really let her enjoy, and hopefully that'll blossom. So that's pretty much it for a very quick overview of Nika. I will definitely in subsequent episodes discuss more in depth, specifically her languages and also these individual hobbies and talents. But for now, let's turn to our last kid here, Akila. So again, Akila is our first child that was born in Canada, since the other 2 were born in Japan. Akila was born in Canada. Although again, all 3 kids have both Japanese and Canadian citizenship. Akila was a pretty heavy baby, so early on we've nicknamed him Chubby, appropriately. But he grew pretty quickly when he was, I'd say, when he was 6 months old. We had a little checkup at the clinic, and apparently he was at the 96th percentile in weight of the kids in Canada. So that's quite rare to see, I think, especially for an Asian baby. But anyways, that was Chubby. And again, if we talk about first the language development, from the language development perspective, all 3 kids again are exposed to 5 languages. That's English, French, Japanese, Mandarin, and Spanish. But what's most distinctive about Akila is that he was immediately exposed to all 5 languages at once, something that many critics consider to be harmful to the kid's linguistic development. But he is 2, almost going on 3, and we do see that the development is nearly, it's pretty close to what Ronnie was experiencing. So we're quite happy about that. He's not confusing the different languages. He is able to associate a language with one person. So for me, I always speak in Mandarin with the kids. My wife and my mother always speak in Japanese with the kids, and they go to the daycare or school in French, and we carry out many activities in English. We have actually an exchange student here who speaks to the kids in English, and finally for Spanish we have brought in an au pair from Mexico. So Akila is able to distinguish, at least associate each person with a specific language, and he's understanding all 5 languages very well, and his vocabulary is developing. So we're quite happy to see that, even though we went with all 5 at once, it did not seem to cause any issues in his linguistic development. And finally, so Akila, being the big fan of his older brother Ronnie, I think he's enjoying everything that his big brother is doing, and wants to at least follow in his footsteps in terms of skating. These are other talents than languages. mostly sports. He's quite aggressive. He likes to jump around and run around, and he's very energetic. So we try to find a place to release that as much as possible. One way is skating, and also this past season, 2018, 2019, when he just turned 2, we put him on snowboard, just like his big brother, and to my surprise, he was actually standing up pretty well on the board, and it's a pretty good balance for a baby of his age. So he's already had 1 season of snowboarding, and pretty sure he'll continue again this coming season in a few months. So yeah, that'll be a wrap for today, and hopefully you will subscribe and click that notification bell so you could catch everything in real time, and we will see you again in the next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.